So I'm here with David Lewis from Weightcheck. Now, Weightcheck is a business. Is this your own business, David?
Yes, it is my business. So I set it up around about 4 years ago because I saw a need to make it easier for people to be able to weigh their cars and caravans. Up until that stage, the only way you could do that would be go to a public weighbridge, go to a local tip or whatever. So I decided there was a need out there to make that service available to people. So here we are 4 years later. We've now got a franchised operation on the Gold Coast, another one in Toowoomba. So between the three of us, we can cover an area from northern New South Wales right through to Noosa and all the Darling Downs.
So what do you actually do?
So what we do is we go to the customer's house, we weigh their car and their caravan on site. We provide a 3-page report which lists 6 weight compliances. So when a car and a caravan are hooked together, you've got 6 weight compliances you've got to comply with, and you've got to tick the box on each of those 6. How do we do it? Mobile scale. So we weigh all the individual wheel and axle weights of the car, all the individual wheel and axle weights of the caravan, plus the tow ball weight, put that into a computer program, and that computer program will produce a 3-page report.
Punch out with it. So, I mean, a lot of people are getting so confused with, I've just had a GVM update grade, so I can now tow a bigger caravan. Or they'll go and buy a car and then they'll spend a fortune adding all these extras to the car, particularly things like those draw sets at the back, a big ball bar, all the rest of it, without realising that in fact that's decreasing the amount that they can tow at the end of the day. So you'll come along and you'll say, right, I'm going to set you guys straight. So here's what you can really tow, and weigh the whole lot. That sounds like one heck of a good service to me.
Yeah, so when we look at the car and caravan combination, like I say, we've got 6 compliances. So we've got to tick the box on all 6. To give you some statistics, this financial year to go so far, so we're just about at 12 months. 42% of 42% of the caravans we've weighed have exceeded their allowable weight, and 31% of the cars have been overweight as well. So that's nearly, as you can imagine, that's nearly half of every caravan I weigh, of all the caravans I weigh, exceed their weights. So it is all fixable, but until you know what those weights are, you don't know that you've actually got to fix it. So the concept about Weightcheck is helping people, number one, get the weights, and then number 2, understand all those GVMs and GCMs and everything else. And that's part of the process we do. We don't just give them a piece of paper with some numbers on it. We provide a full report and an explanation of everything as we do it. And again, give them options of, okay, how do we fix this?
Look, this is a really important thing, because at the end of the day, if I said to you, hey, go out on the road, I'm going to take the speedometer off your car, but I expect you to comply with the speed rules, you'd all be saying you're an idiot. But in fact, that's exactly what happens with weight rules, because they don't really know what the weight is. So they're travelling blind most of the time, aren't they?
That's correct. That's correct. And then like I say, there's a big percentage of them that are overweight. You've got to put that into perspective, I guess. I'm only weighing people that are concerned enough about their weight compliance to actually give me a ring.
Yeah.
For every one person that does that, there's probably 10 people that don't really care. And look, I have seen some shocking examples. Most of it's fixable, but until you know what that weight is, you don't really know.
Exactly.
And there's only a certain amount of payload both in the car and in the caravan. So we just do a little bit of a show here where we load the caravan up and we show people all this stuff that goes in it. And people are quite shocked to think that all this equipment, we've got some bags and all this sort of stuff on the ground. What does that all weigh? We had a lady this morning said maybe about 90 kilos. It was 185 kilos.
Yeah, it shows half the real weight.
Correct, that's right.
So it's an interesting field to get into. I mean, and I know that your background isn't actually this, because it's a relatively new industry. So what prompted you to get into weighing caravans for a living?
Yep, good question. I love telling the story. So my background's in the building industry. I bought a brand new caravan some 5.5 years ago. We were coming back from Port Macquarie, just myself and my wife in a car, and there was a public weighbridge there, so I decided to go over the public weighbridge and see how I went. And we had a single axle caravan and a Prado. When we went over it, the Prado exceeded its gross vehicle mass, GVM, by around about 60 kilos. When we weighed the caravan was over by 213 kilos.
Wow, on a single axle?
On a single axle caravan. Now, I had no idea about that. When I went over the public weighbridge, all they gave me was a piece of paper with 3 numbers on it. And then I had to go home
and try and
figure it all out, because there are 6 compliances. How do I know what my ball weight is? How do I know what my actual weight of the caravan is? When I did all that, I went, wow, I'm way out of way overweight here. So it's a matter of, how do I fix it? Well, I got around to fixing it, and that became a bit of a challenge for me. So I thought, at that stage, the only way you could do it was exactly what I did, or go to the local dump. Well, you don't want to go and tow your lovely caravan to the dump. The concept came out of that. I spent 4.5 months of research into it. Obviously, there's a lot involved. Looked at all the legal aspects of doing that, but also looked at what I was going to give my customers. And to do it, I needed to help them understand all these weight terminologies, give them the numbers, and then say, okay, how do we fix it if you are overweight?
So in effect, when you boil all this down, you were one of those people out there with an overweight caravan, had no idea that was the case. So you've gone from being one of those people, and dare I say it, and I mean it in a nice way, but incompetent, you didn't
Correct.
know,
Exactly
to
right.
now an industry-leading expert on the subject of weights, purely because of that experience of discovering that things actually weren't 100% right. That's to be highly commended, David.
It is,
I
and
recommend
like
that.
I've got to be perfectly honest, when I first came up with the concept of the caravanning, we talked about it around a campfire with two of my good mates. We were out near the back of Charleville, and my lovely wife said, tell them about your new business. And I said, I'm saying, keep it down. I don't really want to talk about it until I decide to get it. And these guys have both been really experienced caravanners. And I said, I'm going to set up a business weighing people's caravans. And they both looked at each other and shook their head and think, no one's going to pay you to do that. I said, well, let's see how it goes. And now it's my full-time job. Because
That actually does raise an interesting point. So that security of knowing all this information, knowing that you're legal, knowing how it all works out, what does that actually cost a person to do? How much do you charge to go out and do this?
Yeah, sure. So we go on site. We like I say, we cover a pretty big area. We go on site. We spend the time. Most car and a caravan combination will take about an hour and a half to weigh it. We charge $250. So that's $250, not just to give them the raw numbers.
Sorry, are you saying you only charge $250 to go out there, check that out, give them a full report, that peace of mind? What's the fine for being overweight?
Well, that's exactly right. There are fines for being overweight, and don't forget, we've got 6 compliances. So if you're overweight on 2 of them, technically speaking, that could be 2
offences, yeah.
The other thing is, people always talk about how that's going to affect your insurance. My attitude is that I don't really push that too much. My attitude is, it's your safety. You and your wife are in that car, you're hurtling down the road at 100 kilometres an hour, you've got about 6 tonne behind you. How is that car and that caravan going to behave if it's overweight?
That's right. Well, the overweight issue, we keep thinking about the overweight issue in terms of the legalities of it, but the realities are, when you're overweight, the brakes were never designed for that extra weight. So things are not going to operate the way that they're supposed to, and Lord knows what could occur if you are severely overweight, and you simply don't know.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely, truly gobsmacked. $250 is so darn cheap. So how do they get about that? How do they go about this, Dave? I'm out there with a caravan now. I'm watching this and I'm going, you know what? Yeah, for $250, these guys are right. I want to get it done. What do they do?
So yeah, we operate, like I say, excuse me, we operate in Brisbane, cover the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast as well with my 2 franchises. So it's a matter of picking the phone up, have a look at our website, weightcheck.com.au, give us a call and we can talk you through things. I get a lot of inquiries, people ring me up and just ask me for advice these days. Happy to give that, because it's all about basically trying to make you safe on the road. Don't forget, as I'm driving down the road in my 6-tonne car and caravan combination, I have the responsibility for my own safety, but also
you're
the
a threat.
safety.
You're a threat to other people
Exactly
on the road,
right,
and
yeah.
you don't even know it. So I just think that is such good value, unbelievable. Give Dave a call. You've got his number. You know where to contact him. Get your van and your vehicle set up right, so you actually really know what you're dealing with here.
There's now, at last count, about 26 companies around the country doing it.
So you've really started a little.
Yeah, they're not all franchises
trend.
of mine, but
Yeah.
they're all operated
there's a trend there.
Yeah, so and most of those will use the same sort of equipment and technology that we
I love the fact, again, Queensland company, so it's awesome stuff. Congratulations,
Thanks very
David.
much.
Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for that.